Yo, what's going on everybody? So today I want to have a conversation with you guys about something that happened in Boruto chapter 36, and as you guys can tell from the title, we're going to be talking about Kashin Koji. But before we get into this, I want to have a conversation with the anime only viewers. This is going to be a spoiler heavy video. It's going to have a major spoiler for what happens in the Boruto story at this point. And the part of the timeline where the Boruto anime is currently, the manga is a little over a year ahead in terms of the Boruto timeline, so not a year in terms of before the anime gets this content. So I would say if you want to remain spoiler free, then this is not the video for you. Over 80% of the channel is spoiler free, so I thank you for your support. However, if you're curious about reading the Boruto manga and doing so in a way that supports the channel, I have links down in the description box below where you guys can read the Boruto manga and do so in a way that supports the channel. So with that being said, if you are still here up to this point, then I'm assuming you're 120% okay with spoilers. So in the latest Boruto chapter, we get this moment where Kashin Koji is just sitting up there chilling. He's on a stakeout, he's eating his ramen bowl, he's watching everything going on with Kawaki and Naruto. He's yet to be detected, and all of a sudden when Jigen shows up, Kashin Koji, he has that moment where he just about pisses himself, and it's because Kashin Koji has been detected by Jigen. Jigen makes eye contact with Koji, and then he looks over to the Toad, and just before Jigen can make eye contact with the Toad, Kashin Koji stops the summoning. He basically reverses the summoning to make the Toad disappear before Jigen can see it. But the thing is we can safely assume that Jigen has sensed the presence of that Toad. Now, when you look at all the information that's out there, when you start looking at Kashin Koji, I definitely think that we're going to get an identity reveal. And when you look at it, right, when you just look at how Masashi Kishimoto did things in the Naruto manga, when we got to this point in the story where they start telegraphing that there might be someone potentially behind the mask who wasn't Mamoru Uchiha, it ran for roughly about 2 years before we actually got the reveal. Now, when you look at Kashin Koji, since he's been on the scene, it should be approaching the 2-year mark of where Kashin Koji was first introduced and all these Jiraiya theories started popping up. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Kashin Koji should have debuted around chapter 15 or 16, and when that first design happened where we see him and he kills one of the members of the the outer members of Kara, a lot of people said, okay, he looks very similar to Jiraiya. So this theory's been running around for a very long time, and it's something that you know Kodachi is aware of, simply for the fact that he had Ikimoto draw that moment where he had that sense of familiarity with Konohamaru. He's referring to Boruto in a familiar tone. He's referring to Mitsuki as the son of Orochimaru, and he's speaking in a favorable light. He has his connections to Konoha. He more than once says that he has a connection to Konoha and that Destiny's pulling him forward. There have been so many hints that Kashin Koji is actually Jiraiya, and I'm not saying I believe that, but there are so many hints that are saying it's Kashin Koji being Jiraiya, or he has some type of connection to Jiraiya. And now when you look at it, there's a lot of stuff that's pointing to the fact that Koji might very well be a double agent. Now, my dude Anime Balls Deep has a couple of videos. One I appeared on, which is Kashin Koji Jiraiya, and then the other one is a video talking about whether or not Kashin Koji is actually a spy for Konoha, and I feel like both videos have a lot of good points, so I would tell you guys to check those out. When you start looking at the whole thing about Kashin Koji being a spy, this is what we have to look at. This is what we have to look at, okay? Like, Kashin Koji has been behaving in a very suspicious manner, and in this chapter, Koji even jumps to the conclusion. He's like, wait a second, Jigen was basically testing me this whole time. He didn't really need Kawaki as a vessel. He didn't need it. The whole time he sent me and Delta, he was testing us. And the way that Jigen is drawn with bloodlust when he's looking at Kashin Koji, and the fact that Koji is supposed to be in charge of the operation, yet all this time has passed and he's never made a move on Kawaki, and you can bet that there was ample time, it lets you know that Jigen, his patience is running thin with Kashin Koji. And so when you start looking at a character like Koji, who is being ridden like a survivor, someone who waits in the shadows and lurks, I think that the revelation is going to come. Whatever connections he has to Konoha, it is going to get revealed. And it might be in his best interest to reveal it to Naruto in the company, but more than likely, I think that this will be one of those moments where Koji's backstory is either revealed before Jigen kills him, or in a conversation with Jigen where it's just mentioned in passing, because at this point, Kashin Koji has to give some information to Jigen that Jigen can actually use. Otherwise, he's outlived his purpose. He's been caught red-handed. He's been caught red-handed, and somebody like Delta is already taking note of the fact that Koji says, well, you can't enter Konoha undetected unless you have some type of a connection with Konoha, unless your chakra's been registered there. Delta enters and everyone goes batshit crazy because Delta, her chakra isn't resonating, whereas Kashin Koji, he's able to go under the radar. So again, it definitely looks as if Kashin Koji might actually be someone who has a connection with Konoha. Whether or not he ends up being a Sarutobi, which is very popular with a lot of fans. A lot of fans believe that he could very well be Konohamaru's father, because we don't have any information about Konohamaru's parents, and you have other people who think that he could be a distant relative of Jiraiya. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here, but most importantly, I think that when you read this chapter very closely, they're definitely setting the stage. They're setting the stage for a Kashin Koji reveal. I don't think it'll be in the next chapter, because the next chapter is likely going to be like this Naruto versus Delta fight, where we're probably going to get 3-4 chapters of just Naruto versus Jigen. But in the aftermath of that fight, I could definitely see a reveal for Kashin Koji happening. So we're talking about this in July, so I could definitely see this coming probably in January of next year. And the reason why I say that is if we go into 4 chapters, August is the next one, so that'd be the first part of the fight. September would be the second part. October would be the third part. November is going to be the resolution of it, unless they make this a 4-part fight. So the most likely chance that we actually see the revelation will be January 2020, because in December you're going to have the magazine on break because of Golden Week, because everything shuts down in Japan the last few weeks of December. So I don't think we'll get a chapter around then. So I could definitely see something coming to us in January 2020. But I want to know from you guys, do you think that we're getting the stage set for Kashin Koji's reveal to be given to us in the next volume or 2? But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.